YG Entertainment is doing the most to keep Blackpink together, but the cracks are starting to show. With no new album in sight and an upcoming world tour that feels more confusing than exciting, fans are starting to wonder if YG is losing control. Is the Deadline tour a way to bring Blackpink back to their fans, or an inevitable goodbye hidden behind contract obligations? Let's face it, it's been a long time since we saw all 4 Blackpink members together in a way that truly felt like the group was a unit. For the past years, the girls have been chasing solo success and finding it pretty fast. From record-breaking solo albums to headlining international festivals, it's clear they are thriving individually. And although fans are happy for them, it seems like YG is slowly slipping away in the process. This is something that netizens saw coming, considering rumors about YG mistreating Blackpink have been around for years. Fans witnessed late comebacks, minimal promotions, creative restrictions, and many more problems throughout the years they were actually active as a group. All these issues came to an end in 2023 when the girls' contracts with the label were about to expire. Of course, the world held its breath. Would Blackpink stay with YG or finally walk away for good? What ended up happening was somewhat of a middle ground. The members renewed their group contracts only for Blackpink activities, but chose full independence for everything else. That meant solo labels, solo schedules, and for the first time, full creative control. The moment the girls gained that creative freedom, the results were impossible to ignore. The members immersed themselves in solo projects that not only showcased their individual artistry, but also left Blackpink's entire group discography looking quite bleak. Rosé released Rosé in December 2024, Jisoo followed with Amortage on Valentine's Day 2025, Lisa's alter ego dropped at the end of February 2025, and Jennie's Ruby wrapped things up in early March. These were 4 solo albums released in just under 4 months, something that never happened when Blackpink promoted as a group. As if that wasn't enough, Lisa and Jennie hit the Coachella stage as solo performers in April, while Jisoo and Jennie went on their own small tours, engaging with fans in ways the group hadn't in years. While the group name remained intact on paper, Blackpink as a unit fell silent, and fans couldn't help but notice that every major achievement the members were adding to their resumes had little to do with YG and everything to do with what they could finally do on their own. While Blackpink was busy taking over the world individually, YG Entertainment was quietly falling apart behind the scenes. As each solo release topped charts and lit up global stages, it became clearer that Blackpink doesn't need YG anymore, but YG still desperately needs Blackpink. In early 2025, fans found out just how bad things had gotten. YG had ended 2024 with its first ever operating loss, which meant a full-on collapse in company history. Despite making over $250 million in revenue, they still finished in the red, running over $16 million in operational losses and closing the year with a net deficit of more than $340,000. To put it simply, the moment Blackpink chose independence, YG's financial safety net vanished. Seeing these numbers, it became clearer than ever to fans that YG is nothing without its biggest act, and with the group slipping further away, the company had no choice but to go into emergency mode. And in true YG fashion, they didn't drop a new album or fix what was broken. Instead, they did the one thing guaranteed to bring in fast cash: a world tour. On February 5th, fans were hit with an unexpected teaser for a 2025 world tour, but there were no dates, no cities, not even a proper name. Instead of building hype and excitement, the announcement left fans completely confused. Considering the girls were still fully locked into their solo eras and no comeback was announced, nothing about this tour felt planned. 2 weeks later, on February 19th, YG finally dropped the tour schedule, and it was massive. Blackpink would open in Goyang on July 5th and 6th, head to North America by late July, hit Paris's Stade de France by August, and wrap things up with a 3-night run at Tokyo Dome in January 2026. A few more dates were added due to high demand, but even that didn't ease the sense that something was off, as it seemed like Blackpink had nothing to promote. Although the tour announcement was already concerning in itself, things only got worse over time. The tour is supposed to start in early July, and yet there's been zero sign of actual group preparation. No group rehearsal clips, no setlist teasers, and no behind-the-scenes content. Instead, the girls are still being spotted in different countries, doing their own things, like Rosé casually hanging out in LA. It's hard not to feel like Blackpink isn't even in the same time zone, let alone the same room rehearsing. Although there are reports suggesting that the group's production crew has also arrived in LA, where YG holds an office, the lack of official communication from the company has left fans uncertain about what exactly is taking place behind the scenes. For a stadium tour of this scale, the absence of even basic promotional material is highly unusual and has created an atmosphere of skepticism rather than excitement. As if the silence around preparations wasn't unsettling enough, fans were recently handed another red flag, and this one came directly from the members themselves. On March 30th, Jisoo uploaded a behind-the-scenes vlog from her Amartage promotions filled with wholesome clips of fan signings and music show appearances. But it was a surprise moment featuring Rosé that left fans talking for entirely different reasons. Near the end of the video, Rosé drops by to support Jisoo during her second pre-recording for Inkigayo. The two share a sweet interaction until Rosé casually mentions that it's the first time they've seen each other since Christmas. That detail alone was enough to raise eyebrows, especially considering that during that time, the group was supposedly preparing for a world tour just months away. What made things worse was Rosé's reaction when Jisoo asked her to join a quick dance challenge. She hesitates, laughs, and admits that it's been a long time since she last danced. While the moment was played off as lighthearted, it didn't go unnoticed. Fans took to social media almost immediately, circulating clips of the interaction as further proof that preparations for the deadline tour might still be non-existent or at best dangerously delayed. That said, not everyone is ready to declare this tour a complete disaster before it even begins. While the silence from YG has caused quite some panic, part of the fandom argues that just because things look uncoordinated doesn't mean they actually are. In fact, if you followed Blackpink long enough, you'd know that this kind of radio silence isn't new. The girls have always operated behind closed doors, revealing next to nothing until everything is finalized. Even during their solo eras, teasers only dropped when the product was ready, not while it was still being built. And of course, there's also the comparison to the Born Pink tour, which many fans remembered for its rocky first shows, where the group seemed noticeably out of sync. Netizens argue that this time it will be different. Back then, the members had been almost completely inactive. Now, however, they're between back-to-back solo albums, international schedules, and high-profile performances. In other words, the girls have been more publicly active than they've been in years. So while things do feel rushed, especially with no solid group promo in sight, some fans are hopeful that their recent solo practice might actually help them show up more prepared. Just when fans thought things couldn't get more chaotic, YG finally confirmed what had been circulating in rumors for weeks. Blackpink will be releasing new music, but instead of a full comeback or long-awaited third album, the announcement left fans even more divided. The label revealed the group will bring out one new song released during the tour on July 5th and 6th at Goyang Main Stadium. YG revealed nothing else. No title, no concept, no release date, just the promise that fans attending the first concerts would hear it live before anyone else. The company argued it would be a meaningful moment, saying it was the perfect symbolic way to reconnect with fans. But for many, it felt more like a last-minute choice rather than a long-awaited comeback, especially when you consider it's been almost 3 years since Blackpink's last full album dropped. As tensions continued to rise online, something interesting happened. Lisa spoke up. She recently sent a message to fans saying how excited she was for the upcoming concerts and that the members had been working hard behind the scenes to prepare. On the surface, it seemed like a sweet update, but the timing didn't go unnoticed, and some fans thought it was a little too convenient. Across social media, some began speculating that Lisa's message was less about genuine hype and more about doing damage control. With tweets going viral about fans reselling their tour tickets and growing discussion about a lack of rehearsal, there was a sudden wave of theories that someone at YG noticed the backlash and decided one of the members had to step in and calm things down. Jokingly, but not entirely unseriously, some fans even said Lisa probably lost a game of rock, paper, scissors and got stuck with damage control duty. On the flip side, others rushed to defend her, pointing out that Lisa has always been genuinely engaged with her fans and often drops into fan messages whenever she's excited about her work. They emphasized that she's never been especially online or involved in drama and probably wouldn't even have seen the discourse unless someone specifically showed it to her. Regardless of Lisa's message, the news of a single new song being performed only intensified the backlash. After nearly 3 years of silence as a group and amid a stadium tour with no setlist, no concept, and no official group promotions, one unreleased song felt like a strategic move. It played right into the idea that YG has no real interest in giving Blackpink a proper comeback and is instead leaning on the bare minimum to generate maximum profit. Why spend time, money, and effort on a full album when one song, unreleased or not, can still sell out stadiums and make quick money? All of this has led to one of the most burning questions in the fandom: why wasn't the tour delayed? If the group wasn't fully ready, if new music wasn't finished, and if the comeback was never going to be a full album to begin with, why didn't YG just push the tour to late 2025 or even early 2026, giving the members time to wrap up their solo schedules and return to group activities with proper preparation? The answer, some speculate, may come down to contract logistics. Depending on the length of Blackpink's renewed group agreement, YG could be be up against internal deadlines, needing to promote and profit from the group before that extension expires. If that's the case, the Deadline Tour isn't just a comeback, it's in essence a countdown clock. Moreover, from YG's point of view, delaying the Deadline Tour wasn't really on the table. These are massive stadium venues with astronomical reservation fees, tight booking calendars, and cancellation clauses that would leave the company with millions in penalties. In North America alone, Blackpink's tour dates have to be scheduled around NFL and MLB games, as well as the appearances of other major touring acts. For a company already coming off its first financial loss in years, taking that kind of hit might have been too risky to even consider. Many believe YG overestimated how much time they'd actually have with the members, assuming group promotions would seamlessly fall into place once contracts were renewed. Instead, what they got was a lineup of solo drops, fashion campaigns, overseas performances, and brand deals that continued well into mid-2025, leaving very little space for Blackpink to regroup. That miscalculation has turned the entire comeback into a race against the clock, and fans are the ones stuck watching it unfold in real time. With only one new track confirmed and no official album in sight, the setlist for early shows will probably lean heavily on solo performances and Born Pink era hits from nearly 3 years ago. Not everyone sees that as a reason to panic, as for a lot of fans, the music that already exists is more than enough. The idea isn't so much about gambling on unconfirmed releases, but showing up for the group's legacy. Besides, there's still a possibility the girls will perform the new track even before it officially drops. Fans have pointed out plenty of examples across the industry. Jennie performing You and Me long before its drop, TXT performing Blue Spring on tour months ahead of its release, and other artists adjusting setlists mid-tour as new tracks become available. Still, with no full album in sight, a single unreleased track, and a tour built around uncertainty, the Deadline era already feels like a mess unfolding in real time. What fans hoped would be Blackpink's bold, long-awaited return is starting to resemble a patchwork attempt to hold things together, and it's safe to say fans are over it. Many are calling this entire situation a quick money grab scheme, even going as far as reselling their tickets. Even longtime stans have made themselves clear. They don't want to sit through another show that feels half-baked and quickly thrown together. With memories of the Born Pink tour still fresh, fans are expecting to be disappointed by yet another low-energy, uncoordinated performance. While a lot of the heat has been aimed at YG for what fans see as clear mismanagement and a quick cash strategy, the silence from Blackpink themselves is starting to sting too. Netizens are blaming the girls for the lack of effort, no promotion, and little to no communication with fans. After not hearing anything from the group for nearly 3 years, this so-called new era feels like a slap in the face. Fans are starting to question why the group chose to stay tied to a system that's been holding them back for years. They argue that by renewing their contracts with YG, Blackpink dug its own grave. And perhaps the most unsettling part of this all is YG's choice to call this tour Deadline, possibly revealing more than intended. This tour might not be the beginning of Blackpink's next chapter, but the quiet end of their story with YG and possibly their last hurrah as a group.